ranking today is going to be Star Wars characters ranked. The way the rankings are going to work once we get flowing here is S tier is obviously, it's kind of similar to the way my movie video was working. So C is going to be you're just fine. You didn't really add anything to the universe, or maybe you just added a little bit, but you didn't really take away. You're just kind of there existing. You're all right. There's nothing wrong with it. Um, if we go up B tier, like your character positively adds something to your show. We're going to take into account like power levels and stuff like that too. So obviously the higher tiers are going to have a little bit of a high advantage towards like Jedi and that sort of stuff and Sith because of their power levels in Star Wars. But if you're just incredibly valuable to your franchise, etc., you could be in S tier as well. Or your galactic deeds are going to come into play. So if you're like elevated your franchise or your series that you were in, you're going up. A is like you're one of the cornerstones of the franchise, and then S is like your god tier level power and um, add nothing but good vibes to the franchise. Everyone can't wait to see you in another project type of thing. D tier is like your character that exists, but you're kind of like dragging the show down or movie. F is like, good lord, what are you guys doing? And I have a don't know because I did briefly look at this and there's a few that I don't know and I wrote down some people's names. So if you see me looking down, that's I'm just checking out to remember their name if I blank when I look at the image. Um, there's a few on the don't know and I'm going to move them up now. They're kind of right next to each other. If anyone recognizes these sons of bitches, holler out because I think they're just from the comics. And then somebody else made all these character lists, and I just added a few at the end to make it more current. But it kind of looks like Bane, but it's not. I have no idea who this Imperial officer chick is, and this droid looks kind of insane, um, but familiar. So if anyone knows what those are while I'm going, please feel free to pipe up, and I'll rank them. I know most of the EU characters. Again, I call it EU because it's EU to me. Um, And I have some EU characters in here as well, sprinkled in through here, and some of the video games characters that are not canon officially to Disney anymore. But I left it the way the dude set it up, except I just added some other guys. So let's get started. It's alphabetical order. Aula Secura. She is a Jedi from the prequels. I think she's good. She's B. Um, she got a little bit more depth in the show. In the movie, she's just gunned down and she's like this hot Twi'lek that everyone's like, "Who are you?" And then she just gets murdered. But she has a little bit more depth in the show. She's pretty decent. Um, well, let me just make sure there's not like a bunch of other Ahsokas down here. They have a few like repeat characters like as their older selves. So, oh, and thank you, Robin. Yeah, it is my birthday today. Um, or yesterday was my birthday. I'm it's my technical birthday stream we're doing here. And for those watching back on YouTube, come follow us on Twitch and see it next week too, you know. Ahsoka, she she's a sorry, she's S tier. She was an annoying character they added in Clone Wars that grew into something special. She's now carrying her own franchise. Um, she's had duels with some of the greats, and she's basically, for lack of a better term, the last real Jedi that's still around. And she's not a Jedi; she's her own thing. She became her own thing. So she's she's great. She's A plus, bottom of S tier. We'll see where she ends up. I might adjust this as we're going and flop characters here as we go. Amilyn Holdo, she was really bad. Um, I'll start her in D. I might move her down to F. You know what? I'm gonna leave her in F. She did one thing, which was kill herself. That's it. The rest of the movie, she made it incredibly difficult for the plot to move because she wouldn't communicate. Like I don't know what to say about that. Like I hate when characters do that. When they don't use words to communicate. Like if she had just talked to Poe, they would have been on the same page and not been constantly interfering with each other the entire time. And I don't know what the purpose of her character was other than to establish a new Mon Mothma, but we already had Mon Mothma. So she just was a purple haired lady that was there. She actually brought down the film. And the hold on maneuver is one of the stupidest things. I ran my ship at hyperspeed right into him. Cool. They didn't open a can of worms at all. Anakin, S tier, and he's above Ahsoka, obviously being her master and the chosen one. I think Vader is separate from this, so we'll judge this just on Anakin. He's a war hero. He's the general of the Clone Wars. Arguably the most powerful Jedi slash Sith to ever exist, and everything he does in life, whether it's with his kids or his actions, influences the entire galaxy. Ventress, I would say B, above Ayula. Decently powerful in the show. She kind of got wrecked. I liked her little spinoff when she became a bounty hunter. Um, nice sister with a blade. You know, what can you say? She's all right. Nothing terrible about her. Aurra Sing, I think she's pretty cool. Um, unfortunately, she was written off screen. I would go B minus with her, so I'll put her for now over here. She might drop down to top of C. They for a character that they just basically showed in the background and then gave her a backstory that she was a bounty hunter, she's pretty ruthless. I think Aurra Sing would have been a cool spot for Fennec Shand, like if she survived that long. Um, she would have been a cool counter to Boba, um, enforcer. Babu Frick. Um, I mean, he's really bad. I'd say D minus because he's just straight comedic relief. And they keep forcing him on him. He doesn't actually hurt anything. He's just really shitty comedic relief. Grogu. He he's S. He's below Ahsoka though. He's carrying an entire franchise, and you know what can you say? The dude's gonna be super powerful. He already is super powerful, and toys sold everywhere for Mr. Grogu, so S tier for him. Um, Barriss Offee, I would put as a C plus. She is actually an intriguing character, but the way that they wrapped her up at the end of she's a Jedi, very defensive, and she actually organized a bombing to frame someone. She framed Ahsoka actually, which got Ahsoka wanting to leave the order. So her actions had a lot of consequence. Her show where they went through her little storyline, Tales of the Jedi, I think it was, or the Empire, where she went through the Inquisitor training, was actually very compelling. And then they ended it very weird with her being back to being a reclusive Jedi. Um, Battle droids, D tier, but I guess better than Babu Frick. Baze, he is okay. He's just a guardian, a Jedi Temple guardian, turned into Enforcer from Rogue One. He was a good character. Was there. Nothing bad. BB-8 was actually really, really cool design. Um, I'd put him above Ayula to me. He was a good character, a good new droid to add. His design was great. He had a lot of positives that he added to the franchise. So um, his influence was probably higher than these guys, but I can't quite put him up into like A tier and stuff. I mean, he just was again kind of there, kind of comedic relief, but I enjoyed him and Poe a lot. Bib Fortuna, absolutely nothing wrong with him. Same with this battle droid. he's pretty weak as a character, doesn't do anything. So he would have been average, but he just kind of speaks for Jabba. Boba Fett would have been S tier, no question. I'm gonna have to drop him down to A because of his show. Now there's time to course correct that back to S. He was S tier before his show. He was S tier before Mando or on the Mando show. And then the show came out and then he existed and did some weird shit on the show. Bodhi Rook, F tier character. Added in Rogue One. His only redemption is that he's like a slimy little rat traitor that dies for a cause at the end. Doesn't really do anything. Boss Nass, again, comedic relief. I hate to put him below Babu Frick because he makes me laugh. I think he's above Babu. Bosk. Let's see. He's ahead of Aura. I think he's ahead of Ayula. I think that's a good spot for him. I don't think he's quite on the level of BB-8's influence. And no, you know what? I will put him above BB-8. Bosk, at least in the books. I'm counting EU stuff as well. Bosk in the books is amazing. He ends up being like the bounty hunters like lead guy, the bounty hunters guild lead guy. He gets into so much shit with Boba Fett. He's a cool character, and I was so disappointed when he was not in the show. I was like, how do you have a show without him? C3PO, he is an S tier overall character. He is not as strong as these guys though, and I can't consciously put him above Boba Fett. So I'll put him in high A. He's a cornerstone of Star Wars franchise. He's just comedic relief in the new ones, but and I think in the newer ones, the sequels and stuff, he gets even worse because he's just there for the sake of being there. Cad Bane, absolute stud bounty hunter. I don't think he's as good as Boba Fett. Gets kind of owned in the show, but I do like his swagger a little bit more than I like 3PO, so I'll go a little bit right there. He's a badass. He's killed men and Jedi. He's got just cool style. He's just one of those cool new characters that was designed. Phasma. Um, I want to put her higher. She's just so shitty. I'll put her above Bib Fortuna. He, she had so much potential, and they just wasted her again as comedic relief for Finn the entire time. So, yikes. Rex, good character, strong, probably the best trooper. I'd put him right below Ayula. They're pretty neck and neck. Um, he definitely adds to the Troopers series, but I'm just not a huge clone guy, so he had a lot of influence on Ahsoka, but that's why Ahsoka got pushed to S was things like him. Cara Dune, let's see. Her actual character is not that good, but I'll give her top of C above Barriss and Baze because of what she ended up meaning outside of Star Wars. Her character itself actually grew on me while we were watching, but initially it was like it felt like a wasted episode. When I watched the fourth episode, I think it was, of the first season of Mando, I couldn't have been any higher on the series, and I was like, what are we watching now? Cassian Andor, the assassin. I'm gonna put him. You know what? And I'm thinking about this. I'm gonna move Rex a little higher than Ayula, and Cassian right there. Rex because of his influence. Ayula is just kind of she's powerful. She's there. She's cool. Doesn't really do much more than that. Cassian though, he went from like a C character. He would have been down here, but the show propelled him to me up to a B. He's just an assassin. He's just that hardworking wet work guy, but they're adding so much depth to him in the show. Um, that his and the actor himself is like the one fronting a lot of the money for this. Um, he's just awesome. So they've got these two guys, the next two guys different. Palpatine, Sheev Palpatine as the senator. Um, as Senator Palpatine, I'd put him right here. Um, absolute god tier character. Obviously, when he's Emperor, we're going to be exploring that S category with him. He's just a manipulative little worm at this level, but he's the god tier bad guy for Star Wars. Chewbacca, A tier for sure, above 3PO, above CAD. I got to put him side by side with Boba. I love Boba, which is the only reason I'm putting him above Chewie. Chewie just he I was thinking about it this morning when I was setting this all up. I think they initially made him as a character that was supposed to be comedic relief, but he ended up just being badass all the way through. Uh Shurut, the the monk from Just Feels the Force. Let's see here. He's gonna be in C tier, although he and Donnie Yen does a great job doing it. His character just didn't do a whole lot. Um, it feels right putting him just next to Baze, but a little bit above. Um, they were cool additions to the story. They just, they did a lot on that one story and that was it, and then they all died. Ooh, Chopper, one of my favorite droids. Um, I actually like Chop more than I like BB-8. So I think right below Bosk would be a good spot. Every time I see these, I want to move Rex a little higher, but I feel like Clone Troopers can only go so high. Um, he was such a good addition, but he's not super powerful or anything. He just made some good decisions, stood out as a trooper. Speaking of troopers, Commander Cody. I want to go high C. I think he's above Kara, but he doesn't, again, do a whole lot. He's just mainly known as the guy who guns at Obi-Wan. Doesn't do much. Just another clone. Good commanding clone. Count Dooku. This is a good one. Um, he is a strong character that gets stronger the more depth that I hear about him. He's definitely at least here. I'm debating whether he should go above Palpatine. I'm going to leave him at top of B for right now. He could easily be bumped up. He's got such good character depth and he was just kind of thrown in there. Christopher Lee was great. He's got good dueling. He's Qui-Gon's master. You know what? I'm gonna put him in bottom A. I'll still keep him below Palpatine. Even the Senator, because he was being manipulated by him the entire time. Maul. Only he will find your lost ship. Um, gotta be honest, and I'm gonna be uh probably harassed for this. I'm gonna go top of A, above Boba. Um, above these guys too. You notice it's not just a power level thing. His character design, his stories outside, his Clone Wars arc, his Rebels arc. He's just the bad guy everybody wants to love and everybody wants to see and, you know, get him like dream matchups against. He has the best lightsaber fight of all time. His power level, I think, is the only thing that keeps him from going all the way to S tier. Um, but Everything about him is designed incredibly. Um, he was a home run, and I wish they would have kept him alive longer. And I wish he would have been the Dooku role. And I think if he was, he would have been up there. Speaking of S tier, and I'm putting him above Anakin, Darth Vader, the quintessential representative of the bad guys, which is impressive when you have the Emperor running around. Um, Anakin's follow the dark side and rule as Vader. Nothing is better in movie history, in my opinion. And every appearance he makes as Vader literally makes your butt tighten because you're like, oh my god, Vader's here, and they've used him in so many films and stuff. Krennic, I thought he was a good addition. I'm gonna put him bottom of B. I thought he was a good bad guy for Rogue One. He got bitched out by Vader, but I think he's a little bit a tier head of these guys here. He didn't hurt anything, did nothing but help move the plot along. Now this guy, I want to say he's JD. I'm gonna look up on my list here. I have a little list of people that I could not remember. DJ, I was close. It's by Benicio del Toro. Now he's the guy that was the code expert, code cracking thief expert. He didn't do anything. He didn't even make us laugh. I want to say above Babu Frick because it's Benicio del Toro and I can't do that to him. I want to switch these two as well because Holdo actually hurt the franchise and he just was a wormy character. Dryden Voss, another character that just was decent as a bad guy. I want to put him below Krennic. He was a good bad guy, well acted by I think it's Paul Bettany. Cool design, but ultimately just a smuggler bad guy. Nothing super special about him. This is Echo. He just kind of existed to me. Um, so I'll put him down here below Maze. He had some cool arcs, but he didn't really. Just clones were never like my thing, and I never really understood. Um, we got Embo here. We're about to see more of Embo, but to me, he was just an okay bounty hunter. I'll put him out of respect to the bounty hunters to top of C here because he's got a cool design. But and I know that he's going to be in the upcoming movie with Mando, so maybe we'll get some more. Oof. Um, the Emperor, S tier. Obviously the most powerful being in the galaxy. I'm going to put him just slightly below Vader in his overall impact and everything. They're just they're neck and neck. It's whoever you prefer, really. He's a god tier bad guy, and there's a reason why they just brought him back for no reason. He somehow returned. God tier, and we're following God tier with F tier. Enfys Nest. She deserves to be the lowest of this group. Not only did she not add jack shit to the film, she actually made me hate the film even more when they revealed who she was. Instead of using all these great characters from Solo's past, they just made one up and they made her a 13-year-old girl, and it made no fucking sense. And she's out there kicking everyone's ass, and you're just like, I don't get it. And like in hand-to-hand combat, I'm not even gonna say it as like a feminist or um, masculine thing. If I walked into a school right now of 13-year-olds, I'd probably whoop some ass. I don't think any one of them would take me down. I'm not gonna lie. Like it doesn't matter how trained they are in fighting. They can't. They just physically cannot overpower adults. They're not fully grown. So when I found that like the whole thing, I was like, what are they trying to prove right now? I don't get it. I never understood the point of this character. Um, had they put some sort of thought into her as a different character from Solo's past, um, it might have made a little bit more sense. This is Evan Pidell. I never knew this guy's name. He was Pig Jedi to me. Um, he just kind of exists. He's he's just there. I'm sure in the Clone Wars he does something. To me, he does less than Echo. He doesn't do anything. Um, Ezra Bridger, who, so to me he was B, and he was annoying as B. But then the show came out, and I feel like bumping him down because he was worse in the show, but he's still quite powerful, and he's one of the only guys that can go world between worlds. So I'm going to put him above Krennic because of power level alone, but I can't consciously, as a character, bump him up further than that because he's annoying as fuck. Now, the one cool thing that he does do is he put a spotlight on the beast taming ability of Jedi's. So I hope they lean into that a little bit more than they have been this other shit. Finn, what a compelling character that they just shit all over. For his PTSD alone, I want to put him next to Embo. He had so much potential, and then he went from like potentially being maybe A tier to all the way down to just being there. Who's this next one? Is this fives? This is fives. Another clone who's just kind of there. He's more impactful to me. No, I think Echo went through a little bit more than him. So let's put him there. We have Zeb from Rebels. Zeb was cooler than Ezra. Uh, I put him right there next to Ezra. I don't like him more than Aurra Sing. His race and stuff was cool. His character arc was cool. He just kind of existed, and I really liked seeing him in live action. So um, I was glad to see that they're pushing there. Ooh, it's a good one. General Grievous. He definitely is A tier. He killed so many Jedi. I thought his design was freaking badass. Um, it's hard to put him. I think he was cooler than Palpatine as a senator, and cooler design wise than 3PO and Bane. Let's move him above Cad. Grievous was cool. He killed a lot of people. With this in mind, I'm gonna move Dooku up here. 3PO is a legend, but he just became comedic relief at the end. He's an all-time icon, but can't put him above there. And Palpatine's only here because this is like snivelly Palpatine. Obviously, he's A tier when he's outside of this. Um, yeah, Grievous. I mean, what can you say? The story behind him and how many people he's killed is incredible. The way he was produced in the cartoons and the movies was a little bit more of a uh, comic booky kind of character. But dude, absolutely was terrifying, especially like his lair and stuff. Jesus, General Hux. You're seeing a theme here, by the way. A lot of the newer characters are down here. Um, General Hux. He just was a joke. I'll put him above Bib Fortuna. Um, he started off being kind of a cool character, but he just came off as a spoiled child. And a great actor, by the way. Fantastic actor. In the later movies, he just kind of took Agent Callus's role as we were going. This next guy is Captain Kennedy, another guy I couldn't remember his name. He just was a Star Destroyer commander that kind of fucked up in The Last Jedi. He's a little bit harder than Hux. Basically called Hux a bitch the whole time. So I'll put him above Hux. But I mean, he had every advantage of the world, and like Poe by himself in an X-wing beat his ass. So I don't really know how else to put that one. Gonk Droid, I'll give it D tier comedic relief. He'll go here. He just exists. Um, I don't get me wrong. I love Gonk Droids. It makes me laugh when I see them. It's not a character. It doesn't do anything. Ooh, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Jeez, this is tough. Going off of EU only, I would have had him in S. But in the Disney rankings, I think he gets bumped down to A, and I'm gonna put him above Boba. Um, and neck and neck with Maul. His design is amazing. His tactics are amazing as described in books. So far in the shows, they haven't quite hit that level to bump him up to where he is in the books. But he is a god. Grand Moff Tarkin, another really, really strong character. Um, just kind of an arrogant guy, though. I'm going to put him at the top of B in that he doesn't get that much time to shine. But in the shows, he's pretty ruthless. Um, he's kind of the cleanup guy, that Palpatine sends in. And Greedo. Greedo existed. He was kind of a running joke for the longest time. Um, he's better than Pig Boy. He just kind of got owned, and he just became a meme. What can you say? He was a bounty hunter. He tried. Grief Karga, rest in peace, Carl Weathers. Somewhat cool character to start. Put him above the clones. Then he became like a governor. Maybe right here below Baze. Cool character that kind of turned into something weird at the end of there. Ooh, Han Solo. Another god tier. You know what? I already see his spot. It's right next to his best friend. Right next to Chewie. Um, God tier smuggler, God tier storyline, EU storyline, phenomenal. He ends up with his kids, and Leia, influencing the galaxy, goes from smuggler to general. Um, one of the all-time greats. What can you say, Harrison Ford? He belongs up in the high A's. His character, though, just because he's a smuggler and a gunslinger, just by does not have that kind of influence on the galaxy. Hera, god tier pilot. And as the show's gone on, she's became more and more likable to me. Let's see. I'm gonna go for high B here. She's better than Cassian, better than Ayula, better than Rex. I like her better than BB-8. She's better than Chop. I'm gonna put her high B. And Bosk is gonna get moved up here too. I think Moff gets moved down below Ventress. And I think that's right. Hera's a very good character. And just having someone that's an expert pilot is pretty damn cool. And she has intriguing backstory. And I really liked her issue with Thrawn, where Thrawn stole her heritage, not heritage, ancestry hand me down. Hondo Onaka, comic relief, better than the droid, better than Babu, better than this guy, better than Babu, or better than Bib Fortuna. He's just comic relief. That's the problem. So it's like it's hard to propel him above characters that have purpose. So I'll put him right there. He was probably star of some of the worst episodes of Clone Wars and Star Wars. Ooh, IG-11. I wish they had put IG-88 on here because I think he'd be more badass, but very cool design. Um, Made me think IG-88 would do some badass stuff. I can't in good conscience put him above a Jedi. Maybe right there. He was a cool character, and what he's been regulated to, which is his machine, is kind of lame. It makes me laugh, but it's kind of lame. Ooh, Jabba the Hutt was an A tier gangster. Um, I think he's above Hera in style and influence and all that stuff. Let's put him right below Palpatine in influence. Just a cool bad guy. Django, another cool bad guy. Very high influence. Um, Definitely A. I don't like him as much as Boba. I'll put him above 3PO, but not Dooku. Main reason being because he got fucking wrecked by Mace. Had that been more of a fight, maybe. Now who's this one? Oh yes, this friggin' lady. This is Jannah. Just catching my list up here. This is Jannah. She is really bad. Um, she was the lady that was a former stormtrooper that Finn found in Rise of Skywalker because yet another stormtrooper abandoned there, which makes no sense from First Order. Um, and she was on that planet where the Empire. I blacked out because it was such a bad fucking movie, but where they found the Death Star throne room. She has zero redeemable qualities. I didn't hate her as much as Emphas Nest, but she's bad. She's really bad. She's just there to be a counter to Finn, and there was absolutely no reason for it whatsoever. She didn't do anything. Speaking of comedic relief, Jar Jar Binks, maybe right in there above Bib because Bib tries, but he just doesn't do anything. Jar Jar Binks exists, and he damaged the franchise by existing. Um, but he provides some laughs, and we look back fondly at our time with Jar Jar. But he hurt the franchise. Jyn Erso, good character. Um, Kind of bland. I would put her maybe right next to Finn here, as she didn't really do anything. She didn't hurt anything. The things that she did bad were counteracted by things that she did good. It added some depth to the Death Star story. What can you do? Ooh, another one of my favorite droids. K2SO. Um, I like him a lot. I'm gonna put him. He's above Chopper. I like him more than. I think right here, right above Chopper. I think that's a good spot. I think of the droids, he's the strongest one there. We're getting more story coming from him, so he might bump up, he might bump down. I can't put him in good conscience up here with Tarkin's level of influence and power, and just out of respect to the acting. Um, this is Alan Tudyk, though, who's a god. But K2SO was my favorite character in Rogue One, and I think he needs to be up there, which is saying something because he's supposed to be this guy's sidekick, but he absolutely carries that relationship. Ooh, Kanan. Kanan is A tier or top of B. Hmm. I won't put him low A. Kanan or Caleb Doom, if you prefer, has one of the best sacrifice moments in all of Star Wars. He is a good Jedi Knight fighter, survived many battles with Maul, with the Inquisitors, and he died saving everyone like an absolute god tier hero. And the whole blindness storyline for him made him even cooler. great character design. Ki-Adi-Mundi is next up. I unfortunately am going to have to drop him. Um, I would have had him in B tier for just being on the Jedi Master Council, but I'm going to drop him all the way down to top of C. The only reason he's in top of C is because he's a Jedi Master. After the Acolyte, and it was implied that he knew about this shit going on, it went from like, okay, so he's a corrupt Jedi Master that got gunned down and let the Jedi fall. Cool. Another Jedi Master in Kit Fisto. Um, power level wise, he's definitely above IG. He gets kind of owned by the Emperor. And by kind of, I mean absolutely fucking destroyed. In the cartoon, they made him a lot better. Kuiil, just a cool character design. I have spoken. Good old little wise man. I'll put him right next to his buddy Kara. He did nothing bad, nothing, he helped out the franchise, just didn't, not a whole lot of power. Okay, so is this Kylo? I think this is actually Kylo Ren, not Ben Solo. So Kylo is incredibly powerful, and his character design is awesome. His character execution was shit. Kylo, though, just in raw power, they got to put him above Ventress. He had a lot of good designs to him because they stole him from Disney and combined them all into one character, and then they made him kind of weird. Speaking of kind of weird, L33T, possibly the worst character design ever in Star Wars, actively sucked the life out of the movie while you were watching it. Below Memphis Nest for sure. Lando. I think there's several Landos on here, so I'll try to remember where I'm putting them. Lando was a really cool addition to Star Wars. I'm gonna put him in B, right here next to Rex and Ayula. He's just a kind of a counter to Han Solo, just not executed as well, in my opinion. We'll see where the new stuff goes, but great character, great addition. It's always fun to see him. Oh, we got multiple Lukes, but this Luke is Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. He is possibly my favorite overall character. His power was great at this level. I'm going to put him right next to Anakin, right next to his dad. I think he's actually more powerful than Anakin at this point in his career. Not anywhere near Vader, though. But he went toe to toe with this man several occasions, and the episode, or the 9th episode of Mando, might be my favorite Star Wars moment of all time when he comes back. Belongs in S. Master Luminara actually had a pretty cool story. She's cooler than Ki-Adi-Mundi. But I think she's just kind of there. She's kind of like the top of C. Mace Windu, god tier fighter. He is going to surpass these guys. Yep. I'm going to put him right above Kanan in his ability to fight. Ooh, I cannot in good conscience leave Jango this high. So let's move these guys down. Um, Mace Mace destroyed Django, so I don't think coolness wise you have to give it to Mace. Mace was not shown so well in the movies as he should have been, but he his lightsaber form and all that stuff is stuff of legend. So next we're making a dent on this. Hopefully I'm not too long right now. I'm already at an hour. There's no way I'm making it to an hour for this film. So sorry again. This is gonna be another long one. I tried. Mando himself, Din Djarin. Um, A tier design. He's not super powerful, but he beats the pants off some people. I'm gonna put him right here above Boba. He kind of dethroned Boba easily as the toughest Mando son bitch there is. Um, he loses fights, he struggles. He's designed really well as a character. Maz Kanata, um, she's really low C. I'd put her above Pig Boy. She's just kind of there. I don't really know what the purpose of her was. She's just kind of there. Mother Talzin. Ooh, that's next up. Sorry, I'm not putting her in don't know. She is one of the only people that was feared by the Emperor. So, for that alone and her powers, she's got to go at least an A. I'm going to put her in importance right in there. She she was one of the only people that Palpatine did not know and was considering her a wild card and tried to take her on as a Padawan because of her power level. He greatly feared the Night Sisters, and rightfully so. Nien Nunb, again, comedic relief. He's better than Bib. He's better than Jar Jar. He just literally chuckles. He goes, me to me, whoop. That's all he does. Um, I got to put the more important characters from the sequels above him just because that's all he does. Another comedic relief, but one that makes me laugh a lot is Viceroy. Um, he's definitely D tier in power and character, and he dies like a little bitch. He's got to be above the comedic relief characters because he actually has some influence, and I like him more than Hux. I don't think he's as serious as Kennedy, so I'll put him in right there. We spent hours and hours and hours mocking that dude, but when they speak in Neimoidian, he's um, definitely a little bit more serious. Ooh, here we go. A couple of Obi-Wans. So we've got Obi-Wan Jedi Knight. He is S tier for sure. And I think these two Obi-Wans just go next to each other. We'll put him right next to Anakin in power because he defeated, you know what? In front of Anakin because he defeated Anakin. Um, and then as Master Obi-Wan, he was more of a hermit, but I think they got to kind of go side by side. He was more powerful when he was a youngin and a master. Um, old Ben Kenobi obviously was mentored here and an absolute legend, and his influence on the Force was huge. Old Man Han, this is a rough one. I don't like to put them separate from their characters because I consider Han Solo as a total package. But Old Man Han was kind of a hot wreck. Old man version of himself, I would put down here above Maz. He abandoned his family to go be a smuggler again. It just made no sense. Old man Lando was even worse than him. He's just there celebrating on a planet and won't participate until the end of the movie for some reason. They just brought him back to dust off Billy D. Williams. Um, Old Man Luke, man, they're hitting us with all the old men here. Old Man Luke, um, incredibly powerful, but didn't do anything. So I'll put him down here with Palpatine. He just helped the Resistance survive and then didn't do anything. He just died. Uh, Leia at the end of her life is supposed to be more and more powerful. It looks like we do have a younger Leia there, so I'll bump her above. I'll put her down here. She's above Grief, more influential than them. She had some force powers. Maybe here. Old Leia was still leader, just didn't do much. She just kind of was there. Ooh, Padme. Padme is an A tier character, but not much powers. So I will put her above Sheev Palpatine. I'm gonna have to move 3PO down again. 3PO just keeps getting he's an A tier character, but he just doesn't do much, once he's in the A tier. Padme, I like her above Jango. Her influence is incredible. Probably right there is good. She can't go toe to toe with any of these other characters power wise, but influence wise and character design wise, absolutely. She's a hottie. Got to put her up there. And she's also just like a smart, does what she can kind of lady. Plo Koon. This is a weird one because his lightsaber is blue in this picture. Again, he's just kind of there. I like Plo better than these guys. Didn't really add anything to the show, so maybe above Barris here. Maybe right there. Just was kind of there. Poe, another good character design gone to shit. I liked him the most out of these movies. He was a very good pilot. Um, I like him nestled maybe right here next to Lando. Good pilot, suave, always want to do the right thing, a little headstrong. Good character design, kind of shit on by the movies. Now this is Pong Krell. I always forget this guy's name. Jedi Master that was a little questionable in his tactics, but he was an absolute fucking badass. He was a cool storyline in Clone Wars. I like him probably right up against Ezra or maybe Ayula. No, yeah, maybe I like his story better than Ayula, but he's right. He's a good fighter. He was crazy. He was absolutely crazy. Absolute Chad lad. Princess Leia. I think I like her right next to Padme in influence and badassness, and I don't think she in EU. So let's just do this in EU. If you counted what she did in EU versus what she did in the canon, Leia would be higher than Padme. But um, I think my natural urge is to put her a little bit below Padme. Kira, very cool design character. I liked a lot of her depth. She's going to go in B to me because I feel like she was the only reason I wanted to see any more of that movie. I liked her better than the droids. and she was very influential. I can't put her above Kylo. I can put her above Ventress, though. Ooh, Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon's badass. Overall influence, I think we're gonna put him right in there. I think he had same level of influence as some of these top tier characters here. Um, I wish we got more of him, and I'm glad that they're kind of opening it up to that. R2D2, let's just put him right next to his friend 3PO. Um, these two, if you wanted to argue S tier, I'd give it to you in a heartbeat. Um, they carried the all 9 movies. So, um, they're cornerstones. They're so weak. Like they do what they can, but they're so weak. You can't like be like, oh yeah, better than Mother Talzin. Um, great characters added nothing to but depth to the franchise. I don't know why Rancor's on here. He was very cool though. I'll put him at the top of D. I don't think he hurt the franchise, but he's not like a thing. This guy is Rio Durant. Um, I had to look up his name. He he to me is just that forearm dude that dies in Solo. I don't think he actually adds anything, and his death is meant to be sad. And it kind of complicated like why ships aren't designed for like forearm pilots more often. Ooh, this is a controversial one. Rey Skywalker. Power level wise, she's S. Design wise, um, she's cool looking. She would beat the pants off of all these guys. I guess I have to put her in S. Um, she's literally god tier powers. The fact that they didn't develop her character though makes me want to put her more like down here by Cad and Mother Talzin, because like Mother Talzin's an S. You know what? I'm gonna do that. Talzin. So it's not just strength up here. Rey strength wise would beat the pants off of pretty much everybody here, according to Disney. Um, canon wise, she's by far the strongest Force user the galaxy's ever seen. But because of her character design and her lack of struggle and all that stuff, um, she was beaten by Kylo. It was weird. Like there's just certain things where they made her strong and then didn't make her strong, and then made her strong and then she ignored Jedi Master Luke like he was a bitch. Um, I don't know. There was a lot of stuff to hate about Rey. Power wise though, character design wise, she's almost perfect. So what can you say? Got to put up there. Oh God. Rose. Good Lord. I do hate her more than I hate L 33T. She's probably the worst character in Star Wars that I can remember. She actively hurt a cool character, Finn's story. Um, more than once. Ooh, Sabine. I like Sabine's design. She's above these two rebels. Above these two, above him, above Poe. The actual live action made her worse though. So I will put her below K2SO. Sabine was the main reason I watched Rebels originally because she was a Mandalorian and they were showing Mandalorian stuff and I thought she was awesome. And then they did the live action show and she kind of sucks. Salacious Crumb. Let's go with comedic relief, but he's pretty great comedic relief. I'll put him above that pilot that died. Well, you know what? I can't just because the pilot had some sort of role in the story. No, I can. He'll go right there. Salacious, Jabba's little laughing pet. He's an icon. He actively makes the thing less serious, but it's Salacious Crumb. What are you gonna do? Just like Jar Jar, it's like, what are you gonna do? Look back and laugh at it. Duchess Satine, very cool character design. I'm gonna put her for her storyline with Obi right there. I think I like it better than Kit Fisto's story. Um, she's a pacifist Mandalorian, which is just a weird concept to me, but they overrode that with just how cool they made the character. Speaking of cool, they made the character Savage Opress, just brute force wrecking ball of a Sith. Very cool character design. Copied Maul, just made him more yoked. He's got to go above Zeb. Probably above Ayula. Maybe right here. I like this Jedi more than him, Pong Krell. But man, dude, he gored someone with his horns. But then Palpatine came down and kicked the living shit out of him. Like it wasn't even funny. Shmi Skywalker, obviously not a powerful character, just kind of there. Um, she can go below the Jedi Master here. Didn't do anything. Speaking of powerful characters that didn't do anything, Snoke. I'm gonna put him right next to Ki-Adi-Mundi. Um, just like a damaged clone that didn't do shit. Nothing resolved. He just failed at everything he did. He had a cool start to his character, and then it just kind of fell off. Just stormtroopers in general. I don't know why this is on the list, but they're cooler than the Rancor. They're kind of epic foot soldiers, but didn't do anything, so miss a whole lot of shots. Um, this is Tobias Beckett, I believe. Yeah. And then this lady next to him is someone I do not know. Tobias Beckett was just kind of there for me. He didn't hurt too much, but he didn't add anything. So I'll put him right above these clones. Woody Harrelson did a good job acting him, but the entire time I watched the movie, I was like, why is this not one of the established bounty hunters that we already know? Why is this guy telling me he killed Aura Singh right here, this assassin, um, off screen? It makes me want to bump Aura Singh down, to be honest, but Aura's design's super cool. This lady next to him is another one I don't know. So please let me know if you know who the hell that is. A Wampa? I don't I don't know why this is on the list either. Wampa's not even funny. Um, I guess here because they were taking it seriously, it's just a creature. It's a cool creature. Watto. Um, Watto's obviously not powerful. Um, he's kind of a stereotype slave owner, but they're adding a little bit to him, and he's got some iconic lines. He deserves to be above Maz, maybe. I think if you put a gun to my head and say choose between Watto and Maz, I would choose Watto every time. Wicket actively hurt the franchise by existing. Ewoks are kind of a joke, but I'll leave him because he's actually a character that does something in the show. I'll put him above Shmi, but I can't even a Jedi Master. I can't put Maz above a Jedi Master too. I will put Watto over him though, over Pig Jedi. Ooh, heavy hitter. This is Grandmaster Yoda himself. He's going S. He's going, I think, right next to the Emperor and Vader and Luke in power and influence. What can you say? It's Yoda, the wisest of all Jedis. Yeah, young Boba Fett. He was a little bitch. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna put him down here with Hux. He just sat there crying. Um, young Han Solo was not very good at his job. I'll put him right next to old Han Solo because I liked the old one better than the new one. Young Lando, I thought was actually decent, so I'll put him right up to Suave Lando. But I can't put him above Poe or Pong or Savage. Maybe here, next to Ayula and Cassian. Zero the Hutt, really no opinion on this. She just a weird fucking Hutt looking character from Star Wars. She didn't add anything, didn't subtract. Put her next to Shmi. This is Zori from Rise of Skywalker. She didn't do anything either. Um, she's a bit decent fighter, maybe above Watto, but she just was kind of added to add another weird love interest to the story. To like, let's just see where this goes. Agent Callus, he actually had a pretty cool arc. Um, didn't do a whole lot. His influence wasn't very high. I can't put him ahead of even like Lando or whatever, but I can put him ahead of Zori. He was Hux before Hux was cool to be Hux. He was that traitor within the Empire that helped the rebels that you didn't see coming. BD1, he is kind of an OP droid. I'm gonna put him right above Zori. I don't like him as much as Callus, but he helps you out a lot in the video games. He's kind of an OP droid that can do anything and fix a bunch of stuff and ride your shoulder like a pet. He is what he is. I'm sure some fans of that game will be like, he's gotta be higher. No, he's an OP droid that they just made as a character in the game to ride with you. Bo-Katan Kryze, she's going up and up in influence. My initial thought would be to put her in B tier, probably top. She's a Mando, so of course I like the design. I like her a little bit more than Hera. I don't think she's quite epic enough yet to be an A tier. I do have her helmet signed there by Katie Sackhoff, though. Katie's such a nice person. Um, Bo has the potential to easily go into A, depending on how the Mando series finishes. Cal Kestis, good character, strong, certainly stronger than most of these C characters here. I like him more than Finn, than older Leia. I'll put him top of C. Um, I liked it. I liked his character. He didn't go too crazy, and he was an okay guy to play. Like obviously, if you take his abilities in the game and you factor them in as like what his character's actual powers are, he's probably like one of the best fighters in the history of Star Wars. But because we know it's a video game, got to temper expectations there. Speaking of that stupid ass game, Cere, um, she's incredibly powerful. Apparently, I hated her as a character. Um, she went down and down and down to me. And then when in the second one, when she went toe to toe with Vader and they tried to make it look like she almost killed them after Vader just literally chucked her off a cliff in the first one, um, she actually makes me dislike the game more because she exists in it. So I'm going to put her right next to Phasma and I'll give her the edge because she went toe to toe with Vader. She made her property worse by existing in it. Grease, again, he doesn't do a whole lot. He just drives the damn ship. I'll put him above Zero the Hutt to give him a little respect. He doesn't do anything. Iden Verso, I never really found out the story from her, but I thought the concept of her was really cool. This elite TIE pilot. I thought though when we were getting her storyline that you were going to get to play through a darker storyline playing as an Empire, and then that never happened. So she ended up just kind of being there. I'll put her above BD1, but I can't put her above Callus or any of them because she didn't do anything after that. Marin, however, a Night Sister companion, pretty cool. Um, I'm gonna put her maybe in front of Jin or so because she has powers, but I think Finn, no, put her above Finn. Her powers shoot womp Finn's ass, but she's the other intriguing character that you play with. They made her weird in the second game. In the first game, when she was more Night Sister A, she was a lot better. Pre-Vizsla, this man fought with honor. I can't put him any less than B tier for what he did for Mando. Um, I'm gonna put him above Duchess because I think he represented Mando's better than she did. He brought, voiced by Jon Favreau, he brought the dark saber back into Star Wars. Talked about Tar Vizsla and the training, and then when he went toe to toe with Maul in a fair fight for leadership, and he honored the agreement. I believe this is Rafa. Yeah, Rafa and Trace will be. I'll put them together right now. They're bad. They're just bad characters. I think I'll put them above this dude because they had some sort of storyline. They literally just made me want to skip the episodes that they were in. They were in the season 7 and had little sprinkling appearances throughout Clone Wars. They just were a waste of screen time. I don't know why they brought back an entire season. Um, to get these guys screen time. Like half of that season was the Siege of Mandalore, which was incredible, god tier storytelling, and you can watch that anytime. And then the first 3 episodes were shit with them two fucking around with Ahsoka. It made no damn sense. Saw Gerrera, he's kind of a badass. I like the idea of the cutthroat general doing whatever it takes to win. Lies, deceptions. I'll put him right here above old Leia, below Embo. His design's not as cool, but the cutthroat general willing to do anything in a fight to win. Um, it's a cool design. Grand Inquisitor, he was just okay. He got really punked out in the Obi-Wan show too. He would have been probably close to B tier to me. I like him more than I like Snoke in them and Luminara. Maybe right here, right below Cal. He's powerful, but he just meh. Trilla. I really liked Trilla. She does lose to Cal, so I'm not going to bump her above Cal. But Inquisitor wise, I thought she was a cooler design than the Grand Inquisitor, which is saying something. Admiral fucking It's a Trap Akbar led some of the biggest attacks in the history of Star Wars. Um, hmm, maybe here above IG-11. He's one of the best strategic commandos ever, or strategic war leaders ever. But, you know, he doesn't do a whole lot other than lead the attacks that they won by miracles anyway. So he's he's got respect on his name because he's an admiral. Bail Organa, again, a character that doesn't do a whole lot. I like him more than Maz. Can't consciously put him above Jedi. Maybe right there. Beru, another one, doesn't do a lot. She can go right next to Shmi. This is what, Cobb Vance? Is that his name? I always forget him. Vanth. Cobb Vanth. He just stole Boba's armor and started wearing it like a sheriff. He fought pretty well. So I'll give him some love maybe above Greedo here. Didn't really do a whole lot else than steal someone else's armor and be a sheriff. So can't really show him too much love. Ooh, Darth Malik. Talk about a salve. Revan's apprentice. Um, Power level wise, I think he might go right below Windu. That would be an interesting one-on-one. He almost took over the entire galaxy with the Star Forge. He's a really cool character. They sort of combined the Vader look in a new way with half of his jaw missing, which was interesting and very well voice acted. The man, the myth, the legend himself, and you know where we're putting him, Darth Nihilus. Whew. I'm gonna put him above Ahsoka. I'm not gonna put him up with Anakin's and stuff. Nihilus's design um, and his abilities are kind of epic lore. He was a wound in the Force that consumed Force to survive. Everything he went was where he went was to feed, and the more he fed, the stronger he got. He ate entire planets, not off like the rock and stuff. People were trying to argue, oh, well, you didn't blow them up. Yeah, he ate the people off there. He committed genocide. And in particular, he got Visas Mar, the Miraluka race, their entire race. He was starving, and he decimated them, and only left one alive that was Force sensitive, and kept her on as an apprentice to help him find more food. The only reason he lost was because he tried to feed on something that was also a wound in the Force, and he couldn't feed, and then he just had his normal powers. His abilities are unmatched, but his ultimate flaw is what is like his hunger is what undoes him. So he's got a weakness, a glaring weakness. Revan, another S tier, and I'm gonna put him above Nihilus. I'm gonna put Revan up with these guys. Revan did some epic level shit in KOTOR. He's arguably, you know what? I'm gonna put him up here with Luke. His accomplishments and venturing into unknown space is still debated about how much influence that he had, but he basically changed the Mandalorian Wars. He changed the wars after that, and he's god tier power level. He beat the pants off of Malik, and then everyone that worked with him ends up beating the pants off of Traya and Nihilus and them later, and they all go off to the unknown regions and have more influence out there, trying to find the original Sith. Revan, Revan was god tier power level. Dengar. I can't consciously put him anywhere higher than like Embo. He was a cool bounty hunter design in the original books. He's the one that saves Boba Fett. So he had a kind of a cool design to him. Dax, again, comedic relief, didn't add jack shit. I'll put him below Hondo. Yeah, below Hondo, but above Babu Frick. He was just a character that was there. Owen Lars too. He had a little bit more development than these other two as the uncle, the crotchety uncle. Poggle the Lesser was again just there. He was just a bad guy. I'll put him above Zori in his influence over the Genosians. Quinlan Voss was a very cool character design in the books. I'll put him right next to Ventress, wherever I put her. I think I put her in B, right? Yeah, he's not quite as cool as these ones, maybe above Chop. He was a badass little like rogue Jedi that ended up teaming up with Ventress. It's a cool little story. Wat Tambor, I'm gonna put right next to Poggle. He was just the leader of the Techno Union. Wedge Antilles, God, talk about a guy. I gotta put him up with Akbar. Talk about a guy that he was in Rogue Squadron, then became the leader of Rogue Squadron, then became the new admiral of the fleet in the books. Talk about a guy that's long-term military man. Good influence. Fennec, good, good character design that just fell flat. She's cooler than Cobb Vanth. I didn't actually like her as much as Grief Karga, so I'm gonna put her right in there. She's more badass than him, but Boba does not need an enforcer. I don't know where that came from. This egg lady, F tier. She didn't really hurt anybody, but she actively made episodes worse. I'm gonna put her maybe at the top because she didn't mean to hurt anything. Of F, she's just useless. Bill Burr's character. Now, what was his name? Miggs Mayfield. That's another one I just can't remember off the top of my head. There's so many new characters that Disney's trying to force down our throats. He was highly entertaining. He didn't do a whole lot. He was entertaining though. So I'm gonna put him right above BD1, or maybe next to Poggle. He's not as like useful as this one, but his character depth was actually surprising and he was entertaining. Moff Gideon. I put him up next to like Krennic. He's gotten a lot more influence than Krennic has, but that kind of level. I don't think he's quite at Moff Tarkin's level, but he was a good Imperial leader. So, B tier. He added to the show, but he overstayed his welcome, in my opinion. Oh, God, what's this lady's name again? Peli Moto. I honestly think she might be worse than Rose. I think she's right here. I like her better than Leet and Rose, but Peli actively pisses me off every single time she's on the screen. She's had sex and admits it with a Jawa. And she wants to do it again. She's weirdo. Shakti is a meme at this point for like how many times people get to kill her, but she's actually a decently powerful Jedi. So I think I have to put her in the C tier, maybe right in the middle, maybe next to the other Jedi here. I like her better than Plo Koon, just design wise. Bendu. Okay, Bendu is actually pretty powerful, and he's actually a cool character design. He doesn't do a whole lot in terms he influences a pretty major battle, but only because the Empire intrudes on his territory. He's pretty insane in terms of his power level though. So I'm gonna put him right here next to Kylo. The dude is massive, and for all I know, he could just not even be a real creature. He just projects himself like that. But he can summon a Tempest Storm and defeat Grand Admiral Thrawn. Um, he's very powerful. B plus for sure. Let's see. We're getting towards the end. We're getting there, guys. It's gonna be another 2-hour tier list. Um, we've got Hunter. We got all the clones here. We're gonna try to separate them out. Hunter was just okay. The Bad Batch, I liked them more than I just like the regular clones. So he's got to be above Echo. Maybe above these guys. So above Cody. I didn't like him above Finn. Tech we'll put in the same spot. I didn't like him as much as Hunter. Wrecker I liked more than them. Crosshair I liked even more than them. So Crosshair I can put ahead of Wrecker. Omega was annoying as fuck, but she's incredibly powerful, but annoying as fuck. So I'll put her right there. All of them together, the Bad Batch right there. They were just okay. They didn't hurt. I didn't enjoy the show as much as everybody did. Some people said they liked Bad Batch better than Clone Wars. I did not. I think per episode it was probably better, like pound for pound, but there was a lot of just I don't care, when I was watching those films or those shows. Star Killer. Jeez, this guy is powerful. Um, Star Killer is very powerful. I think he's more powerful than he needs to be in the A tier. He was the original Vader apprentice in the non-canon video games. So he'll be up in A here. Let's see where. We're going to put him right here next to Kanan. He pulled down a fucking Star Destroyer with his bare hands, man. Like, that's game canon, but it happened. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Black Chrysanthemum, another cool character design. Bounty Hunter. I'm going to put him right above Embo. I thought his design was cool, and in the comic books, he's great. Reva. Strong character that is just piece of shit. So let's see. Reva, to me, actually drove down the show and created a massive plot hole problem by being left alive. I actually dislike her more than Seer, but not as much as Phasma. So Reva can go right next to Seer in the repeated attempts to force new characters into situations where they don't need it by Disney. Now we're getting into some Andor and Obi-Wan characters here. So we've got Tala is our first one from the Obi-Wan show. She just was kind of helping create like a little underground railroad. She wasn't doing a whole lot. Kind of on Maz Kanata land. Some of these characters from these newer shows are just there because they had names. Same thing with this guy. He was just comedic relief in the Obi-Wan show. He was more entertaining than some of these chuckleheads down here. I'll put him right in there, right next to Boss Nass. Well acted scenes. I liked his character motivations and that he was just a downright betrayer whenever you see him. But he just didn't do a whole lot. Who's this? Haja from Obi-Wan. Again, didn't do a whole lot, did less than Tala. Oh no, that wasn't Haja. That was Roken. Um, Lutheran Rail from uh is our next one up. He's from Andor. Very well acted character. I like him more than Dryden, but he was basically the cutthroat guy before Saw Gerrera, doing what it takes behind the scenes to start a revolution. Mon Mothma, the next one up, was the face of that revolution. All political though. So I'll put her above Krennic in influence because she ended up being that face of the rebels, and she, to her credit, in the height of the Empire, came out politically to challenge him. Now, Dr. Aphra, I technically don't know. I'm going to put her in B, and I'm just going to assume higher than Dryden. People tell me Dr. Aphra is like the Indiana Jones of Star Wars in the comic books. I haven't read any of her stuff yet. So out of that respect alone, that I've heard nothing negative from about her, I'll put her up here. And they've even added her to some games that I play. She looks really cool. I don't know her enough to really comment other than I know she's been a positive influence. So I'll put her up there in B. Bastila. Oof. Talk about a powerful Jedi. Bastila to me is going to be low A. Um, I actually like her above Starkiller, but below Malak because Malak captured and tortured her. Basila's battle meditation and when she falls to the dark side, if you play the dark side version, is absolutely epic S tier storytelling. Her battle meditation is arguably one of the most powerful force techniques I think ever created. Causes your troops to focus and like not miss their shots and stuff like that. Not to let adrenaline get to them. Darth Sion, ooh, another real powerhouse, literally held together by pain and his enjoyment of pain. Um, he is a you literally have to just kill him over and over and over and over again until he cannot get up. Fortunately for us, his fighting skills were not that great, so I'm going to put him below Bastila. Um, his design was crazy. He's just this never-ending zombie that keeps putting himself back together, but he can't really fight. So he's damn near invincible. You have to break his will on the Force to get him to stop. Freya, the masters of the Sith Academy, was highly influential. I'm going to put her up in A. Above Bastila, next to Malak. Um, she wasn't as cool as a bad guy as Malak was, but I think she's probably more powerful than Malak. She's very manipulative. She was a Jedi Master fallen to form the Sith Triumvirate, and she got wailed on by Nihilus and Scion at the same time and betrayed. But I mean, she floats 3 lightsabers and fights you with them. Traya is very strong. Malgus, another one I'm gonna have to put in A tier. Um, I'm gonna put him below Traya, but he's a Sith Master, so he's probably stronger than Bastila was. He's from the Old Republic games. He's a very cool design. Again, he kind of looks like a combination of Vader and Malak. We're getting to more Andor shows here, so let's see. We got Bix. I'm not sure why whoever created this list has such a hard on for the new shows, but they put a bunch of these characters in that I wouldn't even touch. But Bix is she doesn't do anything. She just kind of hangs out. So I'll put her here next to the other ones that do nothing and hang out. This is Cyril, and he ends up kind of being like an Imperial investigator that is after Andor. He does stuff, but he's kind of a bitch at doing it. So below Bale, maybe. The ISB recruiter though, or like she's kind of like a rookie in there. Her name's Deidre. She was actually really cool to see the ISB do their thing. I think she's a little higher up in C for that, above Tobias Beckett to me. It was cool to see the ISB doing their things because they're always white shirts in the background, and you're like, who are those people? And they're like, those are the Imperial Service Bureau. Shh. And you're like, why are we shushing? So it's cool. We got some depth on that. Um, this lady is Vel from the Andor show. She's just a mercenary that just doesn't trust Andor. She does more than like I'd say like Zori does, but not a whole lot. Same thing with these other mercs, Tamarin, Sintra, all these guys, Karis, and yeah, I think that's it. These four here, and then we'll 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 go into Kino. They all don't do anything, so I'm just gonna put them with the do nothings down here. They're just kind of like mercs on the show. They don't really do much. I didn't really get any depth from most of those characters except for this one, but not a whole lot. Now, Kino, the leader of the prison gang here, I thought added quite a bit for a character that had, and it's Andy Serkis. It's very well acted. I didn't like him as much as the ISB agent, but I thought he was very much a staple of the show and added to the show's depth. His power level is obviously not very high. He's just a gang leader. Now this freaking lady, what's her name? Sid. She made me want to vomit every time she was on the fucking screen, man. It was Rhea Perlman, for some reason, was giving them jobs. She added nothing to the show. She just, like, why did she have to exist? There was plenty of other people. They could have used Grief Karga. They could have used, like, anything. They had a bunch of characters already established. They just decided to make another one. Sid. And then we got Doc perishing. This is another character that was, I think, I want to say Ahsoka. There was an entire episode dedicated to him. He does nothing. He does nothing. And it's just a waste of an episode. I think his character was developing testing on Force sensitives, and that's why they had him in the show, and it was like related to Bad Batch and stuff. But I mean, like, he literally just wasted an entire episode, and he didn't even get lines or do anything like these characters. I think he's the lowest of C. He's like that middle ground where it's like he's there. He didn't hurt anything, but he's there. Paz Vizsla. Now, he was a cool design that fought well. He's a Mando. Put him right next to Kara, bringing that heavy repeater. Just fought hard. He found it disgraceful that Mando had that sword, so he challenged him for it and lost with honor. The armorer, she was pretty damn cool. I'm gonna have her right nestled up next to Bo. I don't think she's quite as influential as Bo, but she's a cool design, and if she is who we think she is, um, that'll be kind of a cool plot twist and carry over from the Clone Wars. We were always wondering what happened to her, and that would make sense that, with their storyline. Now this gentleman, Baylan, we're bringing him up here. He was a great addition to the franchise, and he beat Ahsoka one-on-one. I enjoyed every moment of him and Shin Hati. Um, I'm not going to quite give him the leg on 3PO and R2 just because he only got one season, but he was a badass and he was my favorite part of the Ahsoka show, and it was a very pleasant surprise that he was there. Morgan Elspeth, the more I learn about her, the more I like her. But unfortunately, it's just kind of weird that she's not a little bit more paler skin like her Night Sister sisters. I'm going to put her right here below Wedge. She's got a lot of influence, and she's potentially going to become even cooler as the Night Sister stories and Great Mothers are developed a little bit more. But she's got some cool depth to her now from all the different shows. Her appearance in Mando was intriguing. Her appearance in Ahsoka was intriguing. Her appearance in Tales of the Empire was intriguing, and now it's getting a little bit, more and more depth. Shin Hati, very cool character design, beats Sabine just straight up 1v1. So I'll put her right next to Ventress. She can probably beat the pants off some people, and we're probably going to get to see some more of her in the next season. Great up and coming character to watch. Oh God, We're on our final row, people. And thankfully, we are not ending with Basil. Basil is lower than Rose. We found it. We found a character lower than Rose. Basil actively destroyed the Acolyte from within. Um, a character that's needed to sniff out Jedis is like, what? People's motivations changing from left to right, him squaring up on people left and right. So stupid. Everything about Basil was like a running joke that was not funny and kept hurting the series. Oh, Brutus from Skeleton Crew, the pirate Brutus. Very cool design. Very cool. Died pretty brutally though. Um, I can't put him above characters that did stuff, so I'll put him above Greedo. He was a very cool pirate, cutthroat, and just got absolutely smashed in the end of it. And now we're into some Acolyte characters. We got Carrie-Anne Moss. Her character was a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be. She is a Jedi Master. I'm going to put her near these guys here, maybe near Barriss. She ultimately failed as a Jedi Master, but she was somewhat powerful. She lost to Osha. Jecki, I thought was a really cool fighter, and I'm going to have to put her above this character. Not above Barriss. She died brutally too, but she was fighting Chimera the Stranger 1v1 to the death, and she had one of the cooler fight scenes in the history of Star Wars. Unfortunately, she died pretty brutally with the triple stab from Chimera. Jod Nana Wood. Untrained Jedi pirate, but very cool character. I kind of like that. Bottom of B. I thought he was a very cool character. His potential is very high. Spoiler alert for people who haven't seen the show. He, ends up being a Jedi kid that was force sensitive. He started getting training, and then when his master died horrifically in front of him, he basically only knew routine tricks and basic abilities to tap into the force to guide him. And he just became a full-on dirty, rotten scoundrel. So he knows how to use a lightsaber, just not well. He knows how to use force powers, just not well. But he's a pirate, and in that world, that basically makes you a king. Mother Anastasia, this was their attempt at making Mother Talzin in live action, basically. She is powerful. She does not use her words to communicate, which again leads to she's like almost on Holdo's level of like she caused so much conflict for no reason. But once the whole story is revealed and she's revealed she's just being a good mom and letting her family go, and it just ends up in a weird misunderstanding about her force powers, um, or whatever powers she possesses that they made up, um, whatever they call their force powers. She becomes kind of average. Um, I would put her above the do nothing characters and the just political influences. Maybe right here, above BD1. She's got a lot of power, but she done fucked it up, caused confusion, turned into a big smoke monster at the worst fucking time, and got stabbed for it. Master Kelnaka, Jedi Master that sucks at his job, man. He's terrible. He's down here with Pig Boy. He rages out and has kind of a cool fight scene, but he's so weak-minded that Mother Anastasia is able to take over his mind, take over his body and soul. He just lives in a forest by himself and gets gutted by Chimera, seemingly without much of a fight. He's Jedi Master in the height of the High Republic. Osha actually damaged the show, so she's got to be in D. maybe F. Um, I honestly think her acting and both of those characters, if you lifted them out of the show and just replaced them with anything else, the show's better. So I think she actually hurt the show. And then she definitely hurt the show on social media, but that's neither here nor there. But their characters go back and forth with their motivations left and right, makes no fucking sense the entire movie or the entire show. And at the very end, her moment of becoming a badass is just completely shattered by her inability to act and do a force choke. Um, it just it just came off really bad. I think if you lifted Osha and that character and her twin out of the series, that series is just better. Pocket, she was actually an interesting skeleton crew little smuggler, little bounty hunter. Um, I just liked her character design a lot, so I'm gonna put her right here. Just the actress who played her was the one who voiced the main character in the movie Brave by Pixar. Just a little fun fact. Chimera was the single reason why The Acolyte was watchable. Some of the best fighting in the history of Star Wars, for sure. Presumably trained by Darth Plagueis, or at least being watched by Plagueis. So you got to give him power bump for that. Stronger than these guys. He took out 9 Jedi in a single battle. I'll put him right here next to Shin Hati, maybe above Shin, but not as high as Ventress because he hasn't, established himself yet. Um, he was establishing himself. Soul, I thought was one of the more better designed characters, but his motivations were all over the place. Um, he kind of belongs right here next to Ki-Adi-Mundi as a Jedi Master that just kind of fucked it up the entire time by being really oddly weird about kidnapping kids. Um, he triggered this whole event in the Acolyte, and he makes up for it. He atones for it. His character goes through the whole ringer, and he went toe to toe with Chimera, so he's a good fighter. And the actor who portrays him does a phenomenal job. Like you get sucked in by how good of an actor he is. This is starts with a T. Tabin from the Acolyte. It's one of the Jedi Masters that's meditating. He's the one that runs off for no reason and causes all sorts of problems. He's D tier for sure. I'm gonna put him below this code cracker. Torben Bell. I think that's his name. Torben Bell. He's powerful. He's a Jedi Master. So maybe we'll put him near. He does so much damage though. I mean, I think he's an F tier. I think he's F. I really do. I think he's below Osha in F tier because he does so much damage in that show by being so hot-headed and weird. And then he kills himself. He's so not a Jedi, and yet he is. I put the skeleton crew here together, the 4 young kids, because they really are about the same rank. The skeleton crew the kids were awesome. Um, Power level wise, obviously you can't put them ahead of some of these other guys, but they tried. They did well. They're a good group together. I'll put them above Bail Organa. They teamed up, formed a little Super Goonies team, and did a little adventure. Didn't hurt, didn't help, and I thought they were going to detract from the show, but they did not. Master Venestra, and this is like a Legends picture of her. Um, she caused a lot of fucking problems. She's very powerful. Um, I put her maybe up here in character design and stuff with Grand Inquisitor. She caused a lot of fucking problems in the Jedi Order, and it was not addressed. And in fact, it appears that she told Yoda she caused all these problems and then was just allowed to stay in power. She is the inventor of the Force Whip, so it's kind of implied that she was the one torturing Chimera this whole time with all the lashes on his back. Or not the inventor, but she uses a force whip for punishment. Mr. Nord was an awful character, and he also detracted from the show. He was a meat-headed Jedi. I don't even know what that is. Acolyte has 3 characters right here in F tier, and their highest character is B tier. That'll tell you why the show just fell off completely. All this guy did was take off his shirt and say, "I'm a Jedi Knight," and then the rest of it, he was just a meathead. He was an idiot the whole time. The actual actor too pissed me off because he doesn't even know. I think I don't want to misquote him, but he said something really stupid about Star Wars, about Anakin during an interview about Star Wars. It was impressive. SM-33, great droid. Definitely up here with the other droids. He's right behind K2SO for me for favorite droid. How can you not? Um, he's very similar to K2SO. You can interchange those pretty easily. Get into the last 5 here, and these are all legends. Some of my favorite legends too. Canderous, Ordo. Mandalore the Preserver. He single-handedly, well, he was a enforcer for Revan, and then he single-handedly revived Mandalorian culture. So he's got to be above Pre Vizsla, above Sabine. I think above the droids. I'm not going to quite put him above Tarkin and these Force users over here. Canderous did a whole lot for the history of Mandalore and was a badass while doing it. He's one of my favorites of all time. Pleasure to have in your party. Now, the opposite end of that was Carth. The good cricket on your shoulder, Jiminy Cricket himself, Carth. He did a lot in the story. So you got to give him that props. I'll put him above Tobias Beckett. He didn't hurt the story, but he was that annoying character you wanted to kill so badly in Knights of the Republic, and they just never gave you an opportunity to kill him. HK-47. I changed my mind. Top droid in the history of Star Wars for sure for me. And I'll put him right above K2SO, right next to Canderous, which makes a whole lot of sense because that was my favorite party was you use Revan and then these two, and you had your ultimate dark side little group. They approved of every evil thing you wanted to do. HK-47 talks the most smack in the history of the Star Wars franchise. So for that alone, you put him up there. He called everyone meatbags. He was amazing. Kir Kanos from Crimson Empire story. He is a very powerful fighter. For those that don't know, I'm not going to go too much into it, but the Royal Guard in the Empire times went to planet Yinchor, and they were the best of the best stormtroopers. And from there, they would fight to be the top of their class, and then Vader and Emperor would come down and say who wants to serve, like, and they would take the top 10 of their class, bring them in 2 at a time into there, and tell them to fight to the death, and whoever won the fight got to be a Royal Guard. Kir Kanos was one of the victors, and he carried on the fight for the Emperor after the Emperor was killed, calling everyone in who left the Empire traitors, and he hunted them down and like false emperors basically, and killed a lot of them. He ended up basically working for the rebels. He wanted to kill Luke, but he found out that Luke wasn't the one who killed him. The Emperor's backup plan to create a clone that was poison and sabotage was done from within by the Empire. So he went after those traitors instead. He's a badass fighter. Toe to toe, went toe to toe with a lot of people. I don't think he's quite as powerful as some of these Force users are, but his character design to me is the whole reason I do the Red Guard cosplay. Kir Kanos is a certified badass. So just off of coolness, I'm going to put him up in B tier. I think he belongs next to maybe Pre Vizsla above there. Um, just out of respect to the Royal Guard. And last but certainly not least, Prince Shizor. One of my old favorites from Shadows of the Empire video game and book. Prince Shizor, to me, influence-wise, goes right next to Jabba and above Jabba. Prince Shizor was the head of the criminal organizations in the inner core systems. Emperor knew how powerful he was of influence, so the Emperor had to treat him with respect. And he forced Vader to, and Vader hated having to do that. And there was an inner storyline where Shizor, um, his whole race was gassed by under the command of Lord Vader, and or his like wherever he was. So he had a vendetta of eventually replacing Vader and being the Emperor's second in command. He didn't realize that that was just not a possibility based on Anakin and the Emperor's relationship and use of the Force. But he was very strong hand-to-hand combat fighter. He had a droid named Guri, who should also be on this list. Was like the most expensive human-looking droid ever, assassin droid that would help protect him. He used like little fans, like little hand-to-hand combat stuff to defend himself. He was by no means less powerful. He was basically what ended up where Maul ended up being the heads of Crimson Dawn and Kira. He was that before that was a thing. He was the head of the Black Sun criminal crime organization, and that was originally bigger than Jabba's. Um, so his influence was huge, and his impact on the universe was huge. And if you've never played Shadows of the Empire or read the book, I would definitely do that. So this is our final list here. I'm not going to go over everyone in the middle, but we got S tier. We got Vader at the very top for overall coolness and everything. Emperor Palpatine, Yoda, Revan, Luke, Obi-Wan, young Anakin, Nihilus, Ahsoka, Grogu, Maul, tipping off tip top of A tier. And with Thrawn and Mando and Boba, Grievous is up there, Talzin, Jabba, Shizor, Malik. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Baylan Skull made it in there. A tier and S tier I feel very confident about. B tier and C tier got crowded with a bunch of nonsense. But overall, most of these characters are right where I feel like they should end up. F tier highlights, I still don't know which ones are down here, but F tier highlights, we got Osha, Nord, Torben, um, the Egg Lady, Rafa, Trace, Holdo, Hannah, Ephes Ness, a whole bunch of people not even worth the time. These people in F actually really hurt the franchises they were in. And I just want to point out that every single one of these F tier ones, just double checking, are all Disney. Every single one. These ones in D tier that were comedic relief, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe about half, um, were the lame characters that everyone used to make fun of. They were just comedic relief, and that's why they were in there. They didn't actually hurt the franchise by being there. Jar Jar's the only one that you can maybe admit that he actively dragged down the franchise. In fact, he did. I'm gonna bring Jar Jar at the top of F. He actually hurt the franchise for several years, but they realized that and they backed the fuck off of it. Um, these guys doubled down. All these guys, Disney doubled down and was like, no, Rose didn't hurt it. We're gonna have Rose in the next movie. You know, like every one of these guys got more and more screen time the more people complained about them. But anyway, that is our tier listing of Star Wars characters by power, coolness, influence on the